Hello everybody, my name is Gary Goddard, and this is my last video blog. And my big problem, as the title says there, was how to integrate technology into the classroom without losing instructional time. So again, as a high school teacher, especially in a core class, we have a lot of curriculum we're supposed to cover and that kind of thing. And every time I turn around, there's a pep rally or some other day we're out of school, etc. So I don't have very much time to even cover that amount. So for me, I've always wanted to use technology more, but taking time to get it into the classroom, teach the kids how to do it, etc., has always been a problem. So my audience, so this year I'm teaching general chemistry. General chemistry, for any of those who've ever taught general chemistry, is a variety of abilities and, more importantly, motivation. So to get those kids to participate sometimes is difficult in general. So I've had to be creative to figure out different ways of getting them to do these things. My solutions then, what I thought about this year was what I've done in my classes at Fort Hays in general, the different evolutions of different methods that have been used to present me information as well. And in the end, what I decided I wanted to try and do is create a Google Learning community for my chemistry classes, a place where they could find assignments and projects and go online and see the instructions and then post what they do there, as well as email me things. And so that's kind of what I did, and I set that up. And early on, we did take 2 days out, and we went to the computer lab and had everybody sign up for a Google account if they didn't have one, and then had them get invited and accepted into the Google community. Um, but basically, the idea of this community is that they could do these assignments from home or before school or whenever they had time, so that I didn't have to take time during class to go through these things. And also, along with this, I wanted to be able to add in extra learning that was outside the curriculum that kind of went along with it, just to broaden their horizons a little bit. For me, again, creativity had been the biggest thing I had to come up with or had to deal with. Take things that I've already done in the past and then adapt them, so that there's a digital answer, online or whatever, they could do instead of the traditional, making a poster and hanging it up in the room. The kids would use some sort of program online that I came up with or found, and they would present it that way instead, which took a lot less time in class, obviously, because they're doing it at home. So that, we didn't have to take 3 days to make a poster or anything like that. Another item I worked on or had started working on is a website that was found by a coworker called the Big History Project. And that basically is a science history from the Big Bang Theory to present. And within this history class, really, it's a free online class that people like Bill Gates have taken. They talk about things that have to do with chemistry, like the formation of elements and different things like that. So I decided it might be interesting to use that website because there's videos and all kinds of things there for them to watch and answer questions, just as an extra background to try and just broaden their horizons a little bit and see that things we're talking about have other meanings as well. Um, in general, the standards that I used, I feel primarily is mostly standard one. Like I said, I had to think of creative ways for students to be able to present things to me, which I think has been helpful, because I think a lot of them enjoyed being able to go online and use different programs that I'll show you here in a bit, to express themselves a little bit better. Some were more interested than others, of course, but everybody basically is gotten an idea of how to play with different things. Along with that, standard two, I had to design projects or redesign projects that I found or have had over the years. So I think standard one and two really go hand in hand. The other standards, um, modeling digital, standard three, modeling digital and learning and such, since I had to honestly learn a lot of these programs myself so that I could show them how to do them. Although most of the students were able to figure things out in like 5 minutes, so I usually looked kind of stupid because they knew more than I did pretty quickly. And then we did discuss standard 4 in general of responsibility, not posting things that shouldn't be posted, that kind of thing. But the one that I wasn't anticipating being involved with was standard 5. I found that many of my coworkers have been asking me how the big history project's been going, or how, how did that project go online that you've been using, and that kind of thing. I think a lot of them are waiting to see how it goes for me this year as the year progresses, and then from there maybe take off and do some different things. So I've kind of taken on a leadership role on accident somehow, and so that's kind of the main thing. So what I wanted to do as well is kind of show different things we've been doing, just to kind of share with you. Let's see here. There we go. So the big history project is this, and so basically my students, let me show the Google community first. Here's the Google community for my class. You can see on the side different projects, different big history projects they've had to do. There's an extra credit one that's due soon. But basically they use these things and they go in here, and for example this one, I use something called Powtoons, and basically all they were doing is just doing a little presentation about themselves, and just so we had an idea of who they were and what they were about. And it took really, hardly any time at all for them to do it. Again, some kids are a little more creative than others. So let's just click on one here real quick so you can see it. Maybe. That's the other part with technology, is patience at our school. Our bandwidth is not the best. Might not work. But the Powtoon was real simple, and well, here it goes. We'll show a minute of it here. So they just kind of told me 3 things about them, and I, showed the kids how to do it, and then they took off. They figured out how to do all the backgrounds and all the different things. I didn't have any clue how to do any of that, honestly, but they were able to figure it out. And so that was a real quick introductory thing that I used to try and get them used to using the internet and using the Google community that they had fun with. PT project is something I've done in the past where they used index cards. Instead I used Ribbit.com and had the students find pictures and make collages digitally and post them so everybody could see, and they gave a little bit of information about them. The big history projects, then they go into here, and basically there's usually 2 parts. One part is they watch a video and they answer some questions that I've posted and email them to me, and then the other one is they watch a video and respond on here so they can see what each other said about a certain thing, and that kind of thing. Another thing I did differently this year, I'm doing for both of my extra credits, I give extra credit once a quarter, is in the past I just basically had them write up a lab write up on paper and do a conclusion, and that was about it. To be a little more creative, they've had to do prezzies, and many of them had never done prezzies before, but so I asked them to do some presentations of them actually working on the take-home project and extra credit project at home, and usually it's a little lab that they can do at home. So the first one we did was what's called a chemical pie, and they make a pie that tastes like apple pie, but there's no apples in it, etc. But the different thing about it is I had them do this so that they could show pictures of themselves doing it. And some of them, this group here in particular, got pretty elaborate with the things they were doing, and that kind of thing. So they had observations of as they went through, and the pictures were kind of the key to get them involved so they can see what was going on. But anyway, I felt it inspired them. I felt it challenged them, more importantly, a little bit more than just writing something out and turning it in. And so anyway, that's kind of what I've used this for as well. And like I said, I've used a lot of different programs to go along with my students. Prezi is a big one. Using the Ribbit.com a lot. Screenomatic, which I'm using right now, I use quite often. To have them, if they make a PowerPoint now, instead of just presenting the PowerPoint or emailing me the PowerPoint, they have to use Screenomatic to narrate narrate it like I'm doing, and send it to me. So again, it challenges them. I think more than anything, besides creativity, is a little more rigor when you're doing projects like this, when you're using digital things like this. I think it requires the students to think a little bit more and be a little more creative in what they're doing and not just copy it out of a book and call it good. So for me, I've found that it takes a lot less time. Another thing that I'd already created that I went ahead and added to this whole thing is the Google site where they can find materials, but most importantly, labs that we do, they have a lab journal, so they go here and they record it, and that just saves me days. Instead of taking a whole class hour to write down that lab in the class hour, they do it at home now, and it saves us so much time. But overall, for me, I think I'm starting to find a little bit better ways to introduce more technology and get them used to what they may see when they go to college or work or whatever they're going to do. And other than that, that's kind of where I've went. I'm kind of happy with it.